Let's go to Western Australia virtually. It's really the only way we can do it these days. We're joined by Evan Hall, who heads up the Tourism Council of Western Australia. Good to talk to you, Evan. You must be enormously frustrated that you still have that hard border, especially when common sense seems to have won out with Queensland. How on earth are people going to book holidays in Western Australia when no one knows what's going on?
Yes, we're very much looking forward to the health advice when it does come through, and we really need an immediate announcement from the government once that health advice has been received that we are open. We are open to most states at the moment. For Sydney and Victoria, we still have a 14-day isolation, so the important step is when we can welcome guests from Sydney and Melbourne and into Western Australia without that 14-day quarantine. So until we get to that point, we are waiting with bated breath. But what we're seeing is states like Queensland has now opened to New South Wales and Victoria. So they're taking bookings right now, family reunions before Christmas, summer holidays, winter escapes next year. And of course, they're bookings that Western Australia is missing out on. So we are very keen to be able to see those borders open up as soon as the health advice allows for it and without delay.
Yeah, but you're talking about more than half the Australian population blocked off, and then just last week you threw a bunch of South Australians into quarantine after they'd flown into Perth. I mean, it must be just devastating for your industry.
Look, it is very frustrating. We are losing more than $200 million a month that we would normally be receiving from domestic tourism here in Western Australia, from Australians travelling into Western Australia. That's not even taking into account what we're suffering from the loss of international visitors. So, look, we are looking for that certainty. There's a lot of Western Australians that are very keen to join up with their families and vice versa. And people are really looking forward to this decision. Clearly, Victoria has done a spectacular job in managing COVID, as has New South Wales.
Well, exactly.
We're at that 28-day benchmark, and we are very much looking forward to the Western Australian state government making the decision to open up.
But they're not making it, and they should be making it now. What does Mark McGowan say when you tell him that businesses are under pressure, that jobs are being destroyed? What's his response to that?
Look, certainly we are feeding that up, that it absolutely needs to take into account the impact on tourism businesses. And most importantly, we need to take into account that people are booking now, not just for Christmas. They are booking for their holidays throughout 2021. And every day that Western Australia delays opening those borders is a delay that are seeing bookings going into other states and not Western Australia. This is going to affect us right through to next year. We are committed in ensuring that the borders should only be open when the health advice is there. As an industry, we support that.
Let me tell you.
But we do not support there being any delay.
Let me tell you, Evan, the health advice is there. You know, there's virtually no Rona in this country at the moment, yet he's got that border still shut. Tell me, to what extent are you seeing this as a political decision? With the state election in March, a lot of people are saying that Mark McGowan wants these borders up to maintain this sort of clean record and this tough stance right up to the election.
Yeah, I think what we've really seen is a shift in Western Australia in community sentiment. Certainly we ran an opinion poll a couple of months ago that showed that West Australians, by and large, supported opening up to COVID-safe states. That's been well publicised, and after it was publicised, we did see the state government move to a controlled border. That controlled border has been, again, widely accepted by Western Australians. So I think what we're seeing is Western Australians are keen to see the border come down from New South Wales and Victoria as soon as possible. I'm sure that's part of the consideration, and what we really want is transparency, that as soon as the health advice says it's okay, that there is no delay and that we open that border as soon as possible. Otherwise, tourism, jobs and businesses will suffer.
Thanks, Evan. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, mate.
Evan Hall there from the Western Australian Tourism Council. I mean, health advice, it's just there. We can all see it. It's like 1901 never happened, isn't it? This federation, the way it's fallen apart this year. I just think it's a crying shame because there's real stories of hardship and real problems with jobs and livelihoods and families kept apart and people not getting to catch up with each other. We've shared you some of those stories. We'll have another story of economic hardship from the West tomorrow.